What's up, everybody? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by We Print Wraps. We Print Wraps is the wrap industry's #1 source for wholesale printed wraps. They offer free nationwide shipping all across the US and Canada. Go to WePrintWraps.com today. Okay, folks, welcome to the All Wrapped Up podcast. If you're new to the show, I've been a weekly listener. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. As you know, I don't ask for much, but I appreciate it if you left your feedback and a 5-star rating on any platform that you're listening to. It really helps us out in getting the word out about the industry. And don't forget, if you find value in the content, subscribe and tell a friend. And now here's a brand new episode of All Wrapped Up with Laura Saggese from Wrap for a Cause. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live. We have Laura Saggese from Wrap for a Cause. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're changing gears a little bit. Typically, we have wrap industry leaders on the podcast, but today we have a great nonprofit organization, Wrap for a Cause, that Laura is the founder of, and it's such a great marketing business, and it incorporates the wrap. So I figured, hey, let's reach out and build a podcast around this.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
No, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and share your business plan and what you have going on using the wraps as a marketing campaign. Yeah,
well, Wrap for is a fairly new company, and we're working towards developing fundraising campaigns, that raise money and awareness for local and national nonprofit organizations. Mm-hmm. And as your audience knows, this has been a good vehicle in the for-profit world, and I was looking for a model to help to give a voice actually to the nonprofit charitable organizations. And we developed a model primarily on college campuses to wrap their vans and their buses. And so we look to connect corporate sponsors, charities to capture that college market and create awareness and raise funds for the charitable causes with vehicle wraps.
That's such a great thing. And before we kind of get really full into how your organization works and how you came up with it, can you give us a little background of who you are?
Yeah, like I mentioned to you, my background's been in advertising and marketing for the last 25 to 30 years. And in that time frame, I did a lot in the to give back to the community, mm-hmm. in terms of the not-for-profit arena. And I basically sit on the board for the Arc of Westchester. Okay. And also created a program called the I Believe I Achieve program for Big Brothers Big Sisters, because I really believe not only I really believe in mentoring can make one individual can make a big difference in your life. Mm-hmm. And through my efforts, I started to realize and recognize that a lot of these nonprofits are doing such wonderful work, but no one knows what they're doing because they have either, virtually no advertising budget, or, for instance, for a lot of organizations that I support with people with disabilities, mm-hmm. it's a lot of times they're unable to actually wrap the vehicles. You can't imagine this, but there's still a lot of discrimination out there, and people have been known to wreck those vehicles.
Really?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Which is disturbing.
It definitely is. That's definitely disturbing. I mean, that they're trying to build awareness or,
Mm-hmm.
all this and just to have the, I mean, we kind of all go through it too, there's always vandalism here and there. And they've actually created kind of a product with lamination where if it was to get spray painted, it actually doesn't penetrate into the lamination. You're actually able to rub that out. In the vandalism.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of new technology, not new technology. They've had it out for a few years, but also it comes at a cost and
Sure.
all that. So there are things out there to help kind of preserve or not take so much of a hit when something like that does happen.
Well, that's why we've been working on this model for, over 2 years. And I think, and that's one of the things that I like in particular about this model is that you are in somewhat of a protected environment,
Mm-hmm.
as well as, like I had mentioned to you, reaching this particular audience, and it's a very controlled environment.
Correct.
So, you have sort of that safety net or those safeguards in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's such a great plan to put them in the college campuses and to have the youth see this day in and day out and get involved with these organizations, these nonprofits that you're advertising. How many nonprofits or for profit do you usually work with throughout the year? Because you said you've only been doing it for about 2 years now, roughly.
Yeah. Yes. But the I don't work with any for profits.
None.
Our we're a 501(c), and it's a completely nonprofit organization, and I work with the nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
But to answer your question, we ran, a campaign for juvenile diabetes, and that was done on the Iona campus, and Country Bank was our sponsor. And what was beautiful about that relationship is that we wrapped their athletic van. So, not only did we get the eyeballs of all the people on the campuses, but wherever, the athletic teams were traveling to, on the highways, we also, we got all those eyeballs as well. And
Right.
What was really wonderful about that is not only did we wrap the vehicle, but the students participated in JDR walks in both New York City. We got the van down there, and we also did the walk up here in Westchester.
Wow.
So it becomes a win-win combination, kind of partnership between the charity and the nonprofit.
That's so great. I love that. And then as far as any other organizations, who else have you worked with?
Okay, so now a big focus for us, and a big focus in the beginning for us was veterans.
Okay.
And my dream, I know we give veterans a lot of attention on Veterans Day, but I am really looking to expand that program year round.
Mm-hmm.
But we did kick off not only another vehicle on the Iona campus for vet sports, but we also wrapped the bus on the Pace University campus that goes back and forth to Manhattan every day.
Wow.
So what's really nice again, all of these relationships are very unique. So they take a long time to develop, but they are so impactful once you create that environment. So what happened was we connected with a charity called Vet Sports, mm-hmm. which helps integrate veterans back into society, not only through sports, but also through education.
Wow.
And then what happened there was Iona became a member of their website. So we created a win-win for them as well.
Wow. You just kind of, you're building all this networking amongst yourselves, yeah. which is great.
Yeah. It's been a fabulous 2 years, and one of my big dreams, I told you, is to make us aware of vets year round and what they've sacrificed for us.
Right.
But I would also, how we're having such a epidemic of suicides. And I really believe one of the things that I would love to be able to accomplish, in the next year is to kind of bring more awareness to suicide prevention.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to find, a corporate sponsor to support that effort. And, one of my dreams would be to see this, a wrap on every one of the college campus vehicles across the United States.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it? But that's one of my dreams. We'll get there.
No, you'll definitely get there. I think what you're doing and what you've created is so beneficial. It's something that we really, really need. And I love that you made a great point that the vehicle wrap industry is such a great, powerful, for profit, but there's nobody using it for non-profit. No one's looking at the other side of the coin. And you could have gone now in the building blocks of creating this and what your vision was. Did you already have a vision that you wanted to use vehicle wraps and marketing in that way, or was there another avenue that you were kind of looking at?
Well, I knew it was a successful approach in terms of like a grassroots effort in terms of raising awareness to build for-profit organizations. That had already been demonstrated to me on a couple of different levels. One was a company in Florida that single-handedly built his whole business by just wrapping his vehicles. And then I also knew in Connecticut a company that basically created their business through wrapping their vehicles in the state of Connecticut. So I knew it was a proven model for the for-profit. So my challenge and, my desire was to do for nonprofits.
Such a great thing. I think it's so great. The kind of mobile billboard of it all, where these buses go from campus to campus and just see hundreds of thousands of eyeballs, every week. It's such a great thing what you're doing. I want to talk a little bit of what your kind of day-to-day is with the organization. What do you focus on the most? Do you create more or less create the network with the people and kind of get all the information to them, or do you do a lot more? Do you get involved with the designing or anything like that?
Well, yeah, we have we worked on like pretty much a template version, because I'm sure that your audience is aware. If I were to redesign every single time, it'd be really costly. So basically, what we've done is we pretty much perfected a template that basically says I wrap for, and then that would be whatever the cost would be. Whether I wrap for people with disabilities, or I wrap for a cure, or I wrap for, and then we highlight what that organization is, and then what we'll have is the fueled by. It will be where we know who the corporate sponsor is, and then along on the vehicle will just be our website, wrapforacause.org.
Yeah, and do you get multiple sponsors to sponsor that particular program, or is it just you just try to get one sponsor to do that?
Yeah, usually it's a one sponsor for per vehicle.
Oh, per vehicle, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And now, if they're running multiple vehicles,
yes.
Can you run multiple sponsors per vehicle for the same kind of organization?
Well, I would, I think you have to determine that on a case by case basis, because you wouldn't really, for instance, for Iona, I wouldn't attempt to really have another bank because they were so, supportive.
Right. But
certainly, the university and would be open to other corporate sponsors.
Yeah, as long as the two didn't kind of clash. That would work out great. That's awesome.
Right. The other thing I was just going to mention, what's so beautiful about this is that for a lot of corporate sponsors, right, they are always looking for, a PR edge, or they're always looking for, some memorable campaigns, to develop viral campaigns. So
right.
this from a marketing and a PR standpoint, the opportunities are endless.
Absolutely.
Because everybody has a personal story. Those stories need to be told, whether it's the stories, for instance, we had a radio interview, particularly focusing on the veterans. And what we were able to do is we had one of the individuals from Vet Sports, come on air and, tell his story. And so it doesn't matter whether, it's the story of the city or it's the story of the, the college student, participating in some way. But all of these campaigns have big opportunity to go viral.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always something on the back end. Like you said, whether it be a story or something bigger behind it.
Yeah, so that's why we're always, we're looking both for, medium size, but also, larger corporate sponsors that, that we could take it nationally and really kind of, blow out a big awareness campaign.
Absolutely. Now, how do you find your sponsorships to get involved with these marketing campaigns?
Well, it is through, to your point, it's a lot of it through networking. Some of it is really trying to look at the actual company, the corporations, and what their mission statements are, and because there are a lot of national, companies like your JP Morgans or your Starbucks of the world who are really big supporters of veterans. So if you can approach them also that supports their mission statement, you'll have a better chance of, making that connection. But it's not easy. It's a lot of hard and takes a lot of passion, and also, reaching, on my end, doing a lot of things like this, whether it's radio interviews or TV or, podcasts, that kind of thing to get some visibility.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of hurdles you gotta kind of overcome and to get those connections and to get everything finalized. How long's usually the process, average from start to finish once you get?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like, we have, you have a lot to work out because you're working, with a fairly large, corporation. And then you're also working with the universities, which they in and of themselves are a large corporation, right? So, and also you have a lot of contracts and, insurance and liabilities and that kind of thing, just kind of wrestle to the ground and iron out. But like I said, when you make that connection, it really is powerful. It's worth it. But it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months. Okay. And you come up with like kind of like a plan of when a start date, when the marketing campaign will start and as you go.
Well, yeah. And the important part there is that when we try to actually capitalize on national awareness designated holidays, because the press is also very open to picking up those stories. So if at all possible, we try to tie it into that route, because the big benefit here is that you'll be able to leverage, my PR firm that gets the word out that, whether we're creating, the juvenile diabetes campaign or whether, at veterans, we also supported a group this year, blind bikers, that were part of a race across America. Wow. So we, you need a fair amount of lead time, but then we also try to either tie it into, like I mentioned, the holiday or a statistic. For instance, for the blind community, there's 90% unemployment. Wow. Yeah. That's huge. So it's huge. And in today's world with the technologies we have, that needs to be addressed. Yeah. So it's causes that, we really get a lot of press, at least supporting and, getting the word out in terms of, what some of these organizations are, what their roadblocks are. And we're trying to break down barriers. Right. I love that you strategically plan these certain events to come out when they should come out at their maximum height of marketing time. You know what I mean? Whether it be, it makes it helpful. Whether it be Veterans Day around the corner
or Labor Day that's coming up soon, having this veterans campaign start kind of rolling around starts putting things in perspective, and people start recognizing it because it's getting so close to those specific holidays. I would have never even thought that deep into it to get your maximum marketing kind of or eyeballs onto these campaigns.
Yeah, and the other thing I just wanted to point out is that the formula, for your audience really is it's a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. 10% of whatever our net proceeds go also on top of that back to the charity. But even more importantly, we even go to the extent to try to tie in the organization to the university. So in other words, like a lot of our funds, when we wrapped the Pace University bus, went back to help support veterans going back to school.
Wow.
So it's that powerful. It's So when that's what I was trying to say. When you develop this, it is extremely impactful for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, giving back, you always feel good on giving back, especially, with the biggest thing with the veterans and them not getting the support they need at times, and that whole suicide side of things where, I think it's 22 veterans average commit suicide a day.
Yes.
The numbers are drastic, and there needs to be a change, and to have awareness where you can put this out and give back at the same time. It's such a great thing that you're doing. It's just I can't commend you enough. This is so great, and it tie in with the vehicle wraps, which a lot of us listeners listening that are in the industry are so passionate about. We at the end of the day, and this is just going back, business owner, it's those smiles that you get, sometimes tears when someone comes and picks up their vehicle that's wrapped for commercial or for just pleasure, color change or whatnot. Those reactions say so much to us and what we do in the industry. And there's so much more we can do and give back, and this is such a great platform. It's just unbelievable.
Well, it definitely is an art, because I've witnessed, the wrappings of our vehicles, and I've been there, and it is really an art and a passion, and I give your audience a lot of credit for the detail, the attention to detail that's required, and the technique and the steady hand.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's the ADD that we all trigger that are in the industry. Attention to details. As a designer or even an installer, it's very tedious, and it's a lot of time, a lot of hard work, but it's so fulfilling at the end of the day, seeing those smiles on the people's faces when they, get that reveal of the type of product they got,
Yeah, it is fantastic.
Now, as far as like designing, because you had mentioned you were in the marketing profession as well, as far as you're designing and coming up with these marketing campaigns, who do you do them in-house, or do you kind of sub it out to somebody that you work closely with that produces these wraps for you?
Well, I work with an independent part of my company, somebody that I've had a relationship with for over 20 years.
Wow.
So he'll work on the design aspect of it to provide to the and then we supply them with the artwork.
And do they produce the design for you as well, and then ship it out?
Yeah, the film. They produce the film, and then they actually are the ones that hire the installers.
Okay. So so they find someone local to that area, wherever the marketing campaign is going to be at. And I would assume they probably are looking for certified installers to install these properly. Yeah, that's always a big thing that we bring up on the podcast is that the you know, a lot of these corporations and people that you work with are going to be continuously looking for certifications, some type of kind of training that someone's had to ensure that they're going to get the best quality work, you know, out of the project.
Right. And also, you know, you also have to when the materials removed. So yes, it's a very important component also to be reliable. To be reliable.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Well, Laura, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to, you know, tell us a little bit about your organization and what you're doing and all the good things that you're doing in the world and helping people in need or that want to get the word out about any type of, you know, we talked about a lot about veterans. We talked about a lot about different organizations. What you're doing is such a great thing. If you could just let everybody know, a lot of us that listen are in the industry and would love to get involved or know an organization that might benefit with working with you. How do they get in contact with you?
Okay, the best way to do it, if I have you know, my 1-800 number on the website, as well as you can write me an email and I will respond. So you can go to my website at rapforacause.org. And I would welcome, you know, any thoughts. And as I mentioned to you, I will do all the legwork in terms of trying to develop that win-win combination. And if your audience has any thoughts to, you know, either a local or national sponsor that might be a good fit, I would love to hear from them.
That's great. Yeah. So head over to rapforacause.org for more information.
That's right. And as we talk, I say rap for what matters most to you. And I appreciate your time and your audience time as well.
No, thank you. Thank you. I think this is great. And like I'd mentioned before off air, I think you're going to get a lot of bombarded with emails with people wanting to get involved. And, you know, especially with us being so passionate, it being specifically in the rap industry, we all want to get involved and figure out a way to help shed light to these types of brands and what you're doing. It's anything to help the industry. We're all about it.
That's great.
Laura,
thank you.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for what you're doing. This is so great.
All right. Thank you. Be well.
What's up, everybody? Hope you enjoyed this episode of the All Wrapped Up podcast. Hit that rank button and review. And to stay up to date with future podcasts, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.